afternoon, viewers, and welcome to Nation Now. I'm Aaron Lingdor. We begin with a top national story. Now, in yet another bombshell for the Congress, senior party leader and former Union Minister Kapil Sibal dumped the grand old party after he filed the nomination as an independent candidate for the Rajya Sabha, supported by the Samajwadi Party. While talking to the media by utter disbelief, Kapil Sibal informed that he resigned from the Congress on May the 16th and is now on Independent Voice. Well, notably, this is the latest high-profile exit from the Congress and the fifth in the last 5 months. Well, this is indeed a big story we're tracking this afternoon, and yet another bombshell for the Congress senior party leader and former Union Minister Kapil Sibal dumped the grand old party after he filed the nomination as an independent candidate for the Rajya Sabha, supported by the Samajwadi Party. While taking the media by utter disbelief, Kapil Sibal informed that he resigned from the Congress on May the 16th and is now an independent voice. Now, notably, this is the latest high-profile exit from the Congress and the fifth in the past 5 months. Well, Sibal is known to have close ties with the Yadav family as a senior advocate. Sibal had argued in January 2017 at the Election Commission that Akhilesh Yadav should get the quote-unquote bicycle symbol. Now, this is the latest high-profile exit from the Congress, the fifth in 5 months. Like we mentioned, Mr. Sibal resigned a day after the Congress brainstorming session to discuss a roadmap for the party's revival after a series of devastating election defeats. Now, Mr. Sibal, an ace lawyer who was among one of the senior-most leaders of the Congress, was among the G23, or the group of 23 dissenters who had called for a complete overhaul of the party's leadership and organization in a letter to party president Sonia Gandhi 2 years ago. While he had also been vocal and increasingly sharp in his criticism of the Gandhi's leadership in recent months. And another big development, at least 19 children and 2 adults have been shot dead after an 18-year-old gunman opened indiscriminate fire at the Robb Elementary School, Uvalde, Texas, before he was killed by law enforcement officers. Now, the shooter, identified by Texas officials as Salvador Ramos of Uvalde, also shot his grandmother before crashing a vehicle near the school. It is learned that the woman is in critical condition. The gunman is believed to have acted alone. Now, the shooting was the deadliest at an elementary school since the Sandy Hook massacre in Connecticut in 2012 that left 26 people dead, including 20 children between 6 and 7 years old.
I'd hoped when I became president, I would not have to do this again. Another massacre. Uvalde, Texas, an elementary school. Beautiful, innocent, second, third, fourth graders. And how many scores of little children who witnessed what happened see their friends die as if they're on a battlefield, for God's sake. Scripture says, Jill and I have talked about this in different contexts, another context. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. So many crushed spirits. So tonight, I ask the nation to pray for them, give the parents and siblings the strength in the darkness they feel right now.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. As a nation, we have to have the courage to take action and understand the nexus between what makes for reasonable and sensible public policy to ensure something like this never happens again. So while we don't know all the details yet, we do know that there are parents who have lost children, families that have lost children, and their loved ones, of course, and many others who may have been injured. So I would normally say in a moment like this, we would all say naturally that our hearts break, but our hearts keep getting broken. To the people of Uvalde, please know that this is a room full of leaders who grieve with you. And we are praying for you, and we stand with you.
At approximately 11:32 a.m. this morning, there was a mass casualty incident at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. This school has children that are in second, third, and fourth grade. I can confirm right now that we have several injuries, adults and students, and we do have some deaths. The suspect is deceased at this point. DPS is assisting with the investigation. And at this point, the investigation is leading to tell us that the suspect did act alone during this heinous crime. Families are being notified, and we are providing services to them as the district should. As far as the rest of the district is concerned, safety measures were taken to make sure that we had a safe release for the rest of the district throughout our city of Uvalde. And we had numerous law enforcement officers and agencies that assisted with the safety release for those students. We do want to keep all our families in their prayers. I hope you do as well. And we also want to respect the privacy of the family. The crime scene is still being worked on. And again, we'll notify the parents and the families as soon as we have some news for them.
Now, in a major development, as many as 3 Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists from Pakistan were neutralized by security forces in an encounter in Jammu and Kashmir. In the encounter that broke out in the Najib Ghat crossing of Kriri in Baramulla, unfortunately, 1 Jammu and Kashmir police personnel was also martyred. Now, notably, the joint operation by the Jammu and Kashmir Police, the Indian Army's Rashtriya Rifles, and the CRPF started at around 10:30 a.m. in the morning today. Our security forces have recovered incriminating materials, including arms and ammunition, from the possession of the terrorists. The security forces launched a cordon and search operation based on specific inputs about the presence of terrorists in Najib Ghat crossing in the Kriri area of Baramulla. Well, the search operation soon turned into an encounter after the hiding terrorists fired at the security forces. Now, in retaliation, 3 terrorists were killed. And what comes as a major boost to education in Assam's tea sector, as many as 96 newly built government tea estate model schools are being inaugurated across the state. A total of 119 such schools are being built at various tea gardens across the state, of which 96 have been opened today. While leading from the front, Assam Chief Minister Hemanta Biswa Sharma is inaugurating 6 model schools in Sonitpur district today. He inaugurated the first school at Ghogra Tea Estate, followed by the other schools in Sonajuli, Naharani, and Fulbari Tea Estates.
আজি আমাৰ বাবে এটা অত্যন্ত সোণালী দিন, এটা অসমৰ শৈক্ষিক জীৱনৰ বাবে অত্যন্ত স্মৰণীয় মুহূৰ্ত। ৯৬খন বিদ্যালয় একেলগে আৰম্ভ কৰা আৰু চাহ বাগিচাৰ ভিতৰত আৰম্ভ কৰা, এয়া সহজ কথা নহয়। মই অসমবাসী ৰাইজক অভিনন্দন জনাইছো।
Cabinet ministers and local MLAs also inaugurated other schools in different tea gardens. Now, for instance, the Education Minister Ranuj Pegu inaugurated schools in Jorhat.
Jorhat জিলাত আমি 7খন বিদ্যালয় আজি দিনটোৰ ভিতৰত আমি উন্মোচন কৰিম। মুঠ অসমত 96খন হ'ব। 96খনৰ লগতে আৰু বিদ্যালয় আমাৰ হাজু হৈ আছে। কাৰ্বি আংলঙত এখন, তাত আমি কাৰ্বি আংলং কাউন্সিলৰ নিৰ্বাচনৰ কাৰণে এখন আমি স্থগিত ৰাখিছো আৰু বাকিখন নিৰ্মাণ অৱস্থাত আছে। খুব কম সময়ৰ ভিতৰত আমাৰ 116খন সম্পূৰ্ণ হৈ যাব আৰু আমি সম্পূৰ্ণ 200 কৰিবৰ কাৰণে বাকি বিদ্যালয়খিনিৰো নিৰ্মাণ অনুমোদন এই বছৰতে বিদ্যালয়সমূহৰ প্ৰতি খুব ইতিবাচক সঁহাৰি আৰম্ভ কৰাৰ লগে লগে ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰী আহি উবুৰি খাই পৰিছে নামভৰ্তি কৰিবৰ কাৰণে। আৰু ই কেৱল বাগান অঞ্চল নহয়, বাগানৰ দাঁতি কাষৰীয়া অন্য যিসমূহ গাঁও আছে তাৰ ল'ৰা ছোৱালীও ইয়াত শিক্ষা গ্ৰহণ কৰিব পাৰিব।
এইটো এটা সুদূৰপ্ৰসাৰী পদক্ষেপ নিশ্চিতভাৱে আমাৰ বাগানৰ ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীসকল বহুত দূৰলৈ যাব লাগে পঢ়া শুনাৰ কাৰণে তেখেতৰ যথেষ্ট কষ্ট হয় মাক দেউতাক যিহেতু ৰাতিপুৱাই বাগানৰ চাকৰিৰ কাৰণে গুচি যায় তেনেস্থলত আমাৰ চৰকাৰে হিমন্ত বিশ্ব শৰ্মা ডাঙৰীয়াৰ নেতৃত্বত অসম চৰকাৰে এইটো ব্যৱস্থা গ্ৰহণ কৰিলে ই আশাৰ সঞ্চাৰ কঢ়িয়াই আনিছে স্থানীয় ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীসকলৰ কাৰণে গতিকে ই খুব সুন্দৰ বিষয়
It may be mentioned here that it was one of the poll promises of Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma to spread the light of higher education in the tea gardens of Assam. Meanwhile, 13 such model schools will be inaugurated in Dibrugarh over the next 4 days at various locations by one union and 5 state ministers. Well, these include Union Minister of State Ramesh Varteli and State Ministers Atul Bora, Bimal Bora, Chandra Mohan Potwari, Jogan Mohan, and Sanjoy Kishan. Well, Dibrugarh Inspector of Schools, Deepika Chaudhary, informed that the buildings are being built by the PWD building and teachers, books, benches, table, chairs, and other equipments are being provided by the Education Department. Now, apart from the regular infrastructure and accessories, the 13 schools in Dibrugarh district has been provided with a 65-inch television set for imparting education through audio and visual mode. Enrollment of students have already begun in the response is very much encouraging. Now, notably, the initiative is a joint collaboration of the Education Department and a Bengaluru-based NGO, American Indian Foundation.
এইটো তেজপুৰ বগৰা কাৰণে বহুত ডাঙৰ দিন আছে আৰু বহুত ভাল দিন হয় এইবাৰ মই আশা কৰোঁ আমাৰ এই স্কুল পৰা বহুত আমাৰ জনগোষ্ঠীৰ ল'ৰা ছোৱালী ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰ হ'ব ডক্টৰ হ'ব কিয় আগত LP স্কুল ইমান পঢ়া লিখা হোৱা নাই কিন্তু এইবাৰ মই আশা কৰোঁ এই স্কুল পৰা বহুত আমাৰ জনগোষ্ঠীৰ উন্নতি হ'ব জনজাতি নিচিনা অঞ্চলত অতীজৰ পৰা পিছ পৰি আহিছে আৰু এতিয়া বৰ্তমান আমাৰ ভাৰতীয় জনতা পাৰ্টি চৰকাৰ দুইখনে মিলি যি ষ্টেপ লৈছে তাক সেইফালৰ পৰা তেখেতসকলক ধন্যবাদ দিছোঁ মোৰ আশা যিসকল ল'ৰা ছোৱালীয়ে আজিলৈকে শিক্ষা গ্ৰহণ কৰিব পৰা নাই তেওঁলোক যে আগুৱাই যাব ভৱিষ্যতে তেওঁলোকো একোজন ডক্টৰ ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰ হ'ব সেই কামনা আমাৰ সকলোৰে আছে সকলো মানুহ আশাবাদী গতিকে তেওঁলোকে চাহ জনজাতি লোকসকলে ভাবে তেওঁলোকৰ ল'ৰা ছোৱালী এজন ডক্টৰ এজন ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰ হ'ব
असम गवर्नमेंट का ये इनिशिएटिव है क्योंकि जब से इंडिपेंडेंस हुआ है इंडिया का और उससे पहले भी जो गार्डन एरियाज है उनमें कोई भी हाई स्कूल नहीं था सारे स्कूल्स LP स्कूल्स थे और हार्डली कहीं कहीं पे ME स्कूल्स थे और इसलिए क्या हो रहा था कि गार्डन एरिया के जो बच्चे हैं वो लोग ड्रॉप आउट हो जाते थे स्कूल से तो असम गवर्नमेंट का ये इनिशिएटिव है इससे ये हिस्टोरिक एक मोमेंट है हम सब के लिए कि गार्डन में हाई स्कूल स्थापित हो रहा है पूरे आसाम में 119 गार्डन स्कूल स्थापित हो रहे हैं और आज से ये स्कूल्स इनोग्रेट हो रहे हैं फर्स्ट फेज में हमारे पूरे असम में 96 गार्डन स्कूल्स इनोग्रेट हो रहे हैं आज कल और परसों का दिन हम लोगों ने लिए हैं तो डिब्रूगढ़ डिस्ट्रिक्ट में भी कुल 19 ये है गार्डन मॉडल हाई स्कूल्स है और उनमें से 13 स्कूल्स इन 3 दिनों में इनोग्रेट हो रहे हैं और इसका यही मकसद है कि जो हमारे टी कम्युनिटी के जो बच्चे हैं कोई भी ड्रॉप आउट नहीं होना चाहिए कि पास में स्कूल नहीं है ऐसा कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए और जो टीचर्स है हम लोगों ने 8 टीचर्स डिप्लॉय किए हैं सारे एक्सपीरियंस टीचर है ताकि बच्चों को अच्छे से पढ़ा सके और इन लोगों का जो फ्यूचर है अभी ऐसा है कि सारा माँ बाप सारे बच्चे के वही गार्डन में ही काम करते हैं लेकिन हम लोगों का ये है कि वो लोग बाहर आए कुछ काम करे टीचर बने ऑफिसर्स बने इसके लिए ये सपोर्ट सरकार के तरफ से दिया जा रहा है
बड़े बड़े टीवी सेट्स लगाए जा रहे हैं क्या कहना चाहिए
ये एक्चुअली बहुत एक गुड न्यूज है डिब्रूगढ़ के लिए खास करके क्योंकि बाकी जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट है उनमें कहीं पर भी ये फैसिलिटी आपको नहीं मिलेगा हम लोग लकी है मेरे कुछ जान पहचान बन गए थे एक NGO है अमेरिकन इंडियन फाउंडेशन उन लोगों के साथ जब जान पहचान हुई तो हम लोगों ने उनको रिक्वेस्ट भेजा कि हमारे जो स्कूल्स है एजुकेशन सेक्टर के लिए वो लोग कुछ काम करे और उन लोगों ने अभी आप जान के खुशी होगी कि डिब्रूगढ़ डिस्ट्रिक्ट के 83 स्कूल्स एडॉप्ट किए हैं और ये स्कूल्स रिनोवेट भी हो रहे हैं और ऑडियो विजुअल क्लासेस के लिए 65 इंच का एक बड़ा टीवी जहां सारा वो लेसन वगैरह इंस्टॉल्ड है वो ऐसा टीवी प्रोवाइड किए हैं और इवन 83 स्कूलों में हम लोगों ने ये 13 जो गार्डन टी हम लोगों का मॉडल स्कूल से उन लोगों को भी हमने डाल दिया है एंड आई एम रियली थैंकफुल टू द एआई फाउंडेशन।
टी गार्डन में अभी असम गवर्नमेंट ने इतना बढ़िया से ये विशेष करके स्टूडेंट के लिए जो उनको पढ़ाई के लिए अभी इतना डेवलपमेंट कर रहा है और अभी 119 टी गार्डन में इसे स्कूल अभी बन रहा है और इसको फिर अपग्रेडेशन करेगा हाई सेकेंडरी तक। टी गार्डन का जो लड़का लड़की था उन लोग को पढ़ाई के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने जो स्टेप लिया है ये खूब अच्छा स्टेप है और इसका लिए मैं माननीय मुख्यमंत्री और शिक्षा मंत्री को धन्यवाद देता हूँ।
And with that, we'll take a very short break, but we've got a lot more lined up when we return, including the latest updates from Chura Chandpur protest. Stay with us.
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
সাধারণ স্টিল এনে কই পরে মাইথন স্টিল এনে কই পরে ধম কই
Evening Prime, the primetime news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on Northeast Live. Your station, your voice.
Now, welcome back, viewers. Violent scenes were witnessed in Chura Chandpur after the police opened blank shots to stop a large group of supporters at Tuibong Community Hall today. The protesters staged a rally in demanding the immediate release of Dr. Mark Thangmang Haukim. Well, as per the latest inputs, the protesters are once again marching towards the Chura Chandpur DC office.
Until Dr. Haukim is released, because the way he's arrested is unfair. It is a discrimination between the tribals and the people in the plain area. So we won't tolerate this discrimination. This protest will not be stopped until Dr. Mark T. Haukim is released.
Now, the incident turned violent after the protesters were refused permission for the rally. However, when they refused orders, the police opened blank shots at the irate mob, who retaliated with stone pelting. It may be mentioned here that earlier, the supporters of Dr. Haukim assembled in front of the Chura Chandpur District Police Station, protesting against the summon order issued by Manipur Police towards human rights activist and the president of the International Human Rights Association Manipur chapter, Mark Thangmang Haukim, demanding for the immediate withdrawal of the summon order. Now, reportedly, the summon order was issued to Dr. Haukim on the grounds of inciting communal enmity through his social media handles, including his Facebook posts, while he was arrested under Section 153A of the Indian Penal Code. And more updates trickling in from Churachandpur. Violence right now. Manipur DGP P. Dongel has informed Northeast Live that CRPC 144 has already been clamped in Churachandpur district headquarters and that the state police has managed to disperse the protesters. DGP Dongel stated that the situation is now under control. Well, this is the big update we have from Churachandpur violence story. Manipur DGP P. Dongel has informed Northeast Live that Section 144 has already been clamped in Churachandpur district headquarters and that the state police has managed to disperse the protesters. Now, DGP Dongel stated that the situation is now under control.
Right now, we have, very sorry. Right now, we have declared 144 around the place where the procession is to be taken. And our people also have taken, police people have taken posts in different places. However, the crowd is dispersed, but they are in different pockets inside the town. But since they are scattered and without proper leader, so the situation that way is under control. But the procession is not being allowed to go out from peace ground. That is the situation as of now. Right.
All right, we will continue to bring you all updates from Churachandpur as the day progresses. But for now, let's take a look at another story we're tracking. The Core Committee on Naga Peace Talks will be convening a key meeting at Chief Minister Nephew Rio's residence today. The meeting is set to take place around 2:30 p.m. Now, this was informed by co-chairman of the ruling United Democratic Alliance and the leader of NPF, Khuzuluzo Nino. Well, the meeting, sources said, will discuss the Government of India's formula to resolve the flag and constitution issues raised by the NSA and IM. As this is indeed another big story we're tracking this afternoon. The Core Committee on Naga Peace Talks will be convening a key meeting at Chief Minister Nephew Rio's residence today. Well, the meeting is set to take place at around 2:30 p.m. This was informed by co-chairman of the ruling United Democratic Alliance and leader of NPF, Khuzuluzo Nino. Well, the meeting, sources said, will discuss the Government of India's formula to resolve the flag and constitution issues raised by the NSA and IM. Well, it also may be mentioned here that the NSA and IM has called a rare meeting of its topmost leaders on May the 31st in what is believed to be a conclave that would confabulate and possibly lend approval to the latest draft of the Naga Peace Agreement. Well, sources said that NSA and IM Chairman Q Tuku has issued a circular convening the Emergency National Assembly that will be attended by leaders of the Tata Ho or the NSA and IM Parliament, military wing leaders, and of course, the General Secretary T.H. Muiva and others. It is now believed that New Delhi is willing to lend a reflection of the Naga statute or the Yizabo in the Indian Constitution and allow the use of the Naga flag for cultural purposes. This formula has found acceptance within most members of the core committee, although the NSA and IM has not commented on it. Well, Chief Minister Rio and a few other top core committee leaders significantly are likely to meet the NSA and IM top brass in the next few days ahead of the high-level NSA and IM meeting. Well, joining me live on the broadcast this afternoon is my colleague Sarah Konyak standing by for us. Well, Sarah Konyak, all stakeholders there not taking a chance and leaving no stone unturned. So are we seeing a progress now in terms of the Naga peace talks? Is it inching closer to get the agreement and make everyone happy?
Yes, Aaron, like you have rightly stated, we can say that things are moving on the right track. Well, this is what is being made to understand to us on the surface of the talks. since we are not party to the talks, and what transpires in the meeting has not been made known to us in details. But yes, definitely, Aaron, on the surface, things seems to be moving on the right track, as like you have mentioned, all the stakeholders to the Naga peace process are working out every formula to ensure that there is a final inking to this decade-long issue at the earliest time possible. And also with all the rapid meetings which have been taking place in the last few weeks, where the core committee led by the chief minister himself had left for Delhi last week and had a series of meetings with the negotiating parties as well as with the government of India representative, where they have once again conveyed to the government of India, that a compromise formula has to come about in order to resolve this issue. And to what we have been made to understand by the leaders, especially Mr. Azunino, who is also a member of the core committee, he has stated that the government of India is ready, is going full out to accommodate the demands of the negotiating parties, especially with the NSA and IM, and the government of India is ready to allow the Nagas to use the Naga flag in cultural programs, and as well the Yizabo, which is the Naga constitution, will be incorporated in the Indian constitution. But the big question which still remains here now is that, Aaron, the demand of the NSA and IM is still very firm, that they will not accept any solution without the flag and the constitution. Now the offer of the government of India is a little contrasting, because the NSA and IM in their recent press statement, although they have stated that they do not oppose to an early solution, however, they have time and again reiterated that the Naga flag is an integral part of the Nagas, for the Nagas. So the big question that still remains is that whether the NSA and IM will accept the offer which has been made by the government of India. And also significantly, the NSA and IM chairman, Mr. Q Tuku, has called for an emergency National Assembly on the 31st of May. It is very rare for the NSA and IM to be calling a meeting of all the top guns or from the NSA and IM. And what we are hearing from our sources is that the meeting will be taking place at the Camp Hebron, which is the general headquarters of the NSA and IM, and the House is likely to take some big decisions, to take some key decisions on the 31st of May meeting, where the decisions will eventually finalize outcome of the meeting. The decisions will eventually finalize the fate of the Naga people. Back to you, Aaron.
All right, Sarah, I want you to stand by for us. Well, joining me over the phone is our editor-in-chief, Wasbir Hussain. All right, do we have Wasbir Hussain on the line? All right, we will try and reestablish that line. But for now, Sarah, have all the leaders arrived? What is the scene right now? Because it's about to be 2:30 right now. What's the scene like?
Yes, Aaron, as you can see right now, I'm standing outside the residence of the Chief Minister's complex, where we have just seen a few vehicles going. Mr. Nibakronu, advisor Haying, all the core committee members have just arrived. They were arriving a while back. A few of the key elected members had arrived for the meeting. We can see Mr. Kozuluzo Nezo, who is also the co-chairman and the NPF party leader, entering the Chief Minister's residence. So the meeting is all set to take place in some few minutes for now. The meeting will be attended by the Chief Minister himself, the UDA Chairman, Mr. T.R. Ziliang, Deputy Chief Minister, BJP leader, and BJP President and Minister, Mr. Timjan, along besides the other elected members. What we are hearing is that the Chief Minister will be briefing the elected members on their recent visit to Delhi, of what transpired in the meeting. They are expected to deliberate at length on the issues, especially with regard to having a meeting with the NSA and IM. What we have learned is that the core committee members led by the CM will be meeting the NSA and IM, but we have not been able to confirm whether the core committee will be sitting with the top guns of the NSA and IM on or before the 31st May NSA and IM meeting, which is scheduled to be held at Camp Hebron.
All right, well, Sarah, just stand by for us again. And I think we have our editor-in-chief, Wasbir Hussain, on the phone. So, Wasbir, like Sarah just mentioned, on the surface, things look as if they're going in the right direction. So, are we seeing the Naga peace talks inching closer to reaching an agreement that will make everyone happy?
Absolutely, Aaron. The sense that I am getting since the last few days, last 24 hours to 36 hours particularly, is that the Naga peace process is likely to be appears to be inching towards a solution. That is what the sense that we are getting. Let me also go to our correspondent, Sarah Kanyak. Let's have Sarah on the screen at this point in time. But this meeting is at this point in time is extremely crucial. The meeting where everybody is gathering at the residence of the Chief Minister, Mr. Nafurio. The core committee is meeting. Now, the core committee today is going to decide the final draft, one of the latest draft of the Naga peace talks that was arrived at due to after the series of meetings in New Delhi between the government of Nagaland, the Nagaland government leaders, with the interlocutor A.K. Mishra, Nagaland government leaders meeting with the NSCN-IM, the NNPGs, and some of the Nagaland government leaders at a meeting with Union Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah as well. And we have seen also several other leaders of the Nagaland, at least one of them had met the Prime Minister as well in New Delhi. So the compromise formula, what is the formula that the government of India is offering? Now, the reliable reports indicate that the government of India is now willing to allow the Nagas to use the flag for cultural purposes. That is something which is on offer. The second point which is on offer is the Naga statute or Iozabo. It will find a reflection in some form in the Indian constitution. So these are the this is the offer, and that is what is going to be discussed in the core committee meeting today. Okay, Sarah, this is the sense we are getting. Are you hearing anything different? Okay, I don't think Sarah Konyak is there with us, but this is the critical meeting. After today's meeting, the Chief Minister Nafurio and some top leaders of the core committee are going to meet the NSCN-IM. So we are hearing that this meeting is going to take place on the 29th or 30th. Ahead of the 31st meeting that the NSCN-IM has called the Emergency National Assembly. Sarah, can you hear me first of all? Sarah. Okay, Sarah, can you hear me?
Your audio is not very clear.
Okay, we have some audio problem. I'd like to go back to the studios to Aaron to continue this conversation with Sarah Kanyak.
All right, well, like our editor-in-chief just said, it's a crucial meeting of the core committee to decide on the latest draft. All eyes on the meeting. As you can see on the screen before, we showed you that was our correspondent standing outside the residence of the Chief Minister. Complex and cavalcade of core committee leaders have already arrived at the meeting. So all eyes on this big meeting. And that does it for us here on The Bulletin. I'm Aaron Lingdo. Thanks for watching.
Trending issues of the day. Who are the newsmakers? Is the voice of the people reaching the corridors of power? Welcome to Bottom Line.
চাওচোন কোন নতুন খেলুৱৈ আহিছে
বুজাই দিম আজি
মৰমেৰে বুজাম লাহে লাহে কৰি
তেওঁ আমাৰ মাত কথাই কয়
এয়াতো আমাৰেই মাত কথা যদি এক তেন্তে হৃদয়ো এক হোৱা উচিত